And here we are, DC. What's going on, man? We are here with another great interview. This one, man, we get to talk to him before his Double A Portland debut tomorrow. DC, I'm going to let you introduce the guy because, well, you're the guy that got the guy.
Yeah, pretty excited about this. Just thought I'd reach out to him. Saw that he had a pretty nice start. Did a little research, so I figured, hey, why not? But yeah, we got Hunter Dobbins to come on for an interview. So pretty excited about that.
What's going on, Hunter? How you doing, sir?
Doing pretty good, guys. How y'all?
Not too bad, not too bad.
What's up, Hunter?
So Hunter, the night before your first big start in Portland, how you feeling? What's going through your mind? Do you have any pregame rituals, DC? I know you love that question, but I have to get it out of the way right away.
No, it's good.
Kind of.
You do your thing.
I'm feeling good. Honestly, nerves haven't really sat in yet. I'm just kind of same mindset as Greenville, the same strike zone. That thing's not moving. Well, depends on the umpire. Might move a little bit, but just go out there, do what I do, try to give my team a good chance to win. And pregame ritual, nothing much. I guess the one big thing is I like a big Italian food lunch, like pregame, and then hot tub as soon as I get to the field. Something about a hot tub just gets me going.
Oh man, so Hunter, it was kind of ironic. You get called up last week, and I sit there and send a tweet out, and I was like, dude, I can't wait till we interview. And almost instantly, your dad and I think it's your brother both followed the podcast almost simultaneously. I was like, I told DC, I'm like, dude, I'm like his family's like all about this, you know. So how's it feel to have great support from your dad, who was a former pitcher in the major leagues, and you know your brother overall?
Means a lot. You know, especially on Father's Day when I found out the news and gave them the call that I was heading up to Double A. Like a few days after that, they were I think they were watching Twitter for anything that my name would pop up. But it's like the support from my dad and my mom, I guess both my parents is just through the roof. Even my in-laws are, I mean, they're looking forward to coming out and supporting me. My wife about lost it on me when I called her, just because she knows how hard the Tommy John rehab and everything's been. And then little brother just getting into high school, so I think it's starting to hit him kind of just how kind of high up this level is, how kind of it's pretty cool. And with him starting high school baseball, I think he's looking at it like, oh, I hope I do this one day. But I mean, just to have the support behind me means the world, and kind of takes the burden of these long months alone out here. It takes burden off a little bit, and probably couldn't do it without them.
Yeah, I always thought, and DC could probably back me up on this. Behind every great man, there's even a greater woman to support. Like DC knows Mayan pretty well, and I might be the biggest pain 98% of the time, but 99% of the time she's always there to sit there and back me up, and it feels good to have somebody like that.
Oh, absolutely. I would not be in this position without my wife, and honestly, I'd probably be in a lot more trouble without her. She keeps me straight. She keeps me kind of on the right path, and she keeps me humble as well. You know, I'll always remember my first season down in Salem. I had a kind of a rough stretch where I think back-to-back outings gave up like 5 runs in like 3 or 4 innings. And I called her that night, And she goes, well, just stop giving up runs. And I'm like, thanks. I appreciate the advice. And every time I have a rough one like that, she just reminds me.
But hey, things have changed since then. You were DC. Correct me if I was wrong. 3 weeks in a row, you were the pitcher of the week down in Greenville.
Something like that. I think it was 2. I know that Greenville staff held down the awards there for about. I think we had 6 out of the last 7 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's wild.
that was definitely a fun staff to be on.
Yeah. So what does it feel? Oh, go ahead, DC. Go ahead.
So you kind of touched on the Tommy John rehab. Obviously that that messes you up physically, but was it more of a physical or mental battle for you as far as the rehab? And I'm assuming how much of a support system was your family, for that, going through that rehab?
They were massive, especially early on when I was still at Tech. Just with the uncertainty with the draft, having a chance to get drafted, then getting hurt, and kind of obviously mentality took a big hit. But once I got pro, I think it turned into more of a physical battle because I was pretty blessed with the group of guys I had around me. I had Thad Ward, Brian Mata, Brock Bell, even got Chris Sale a little bit towards the end of his rehab. So it's like when I got first drafted and rehabbed with the Red Sox, I was surrounded by a great group of guys, a lot of experience. So I think mentally I was pretty set up for success. And then I physically just kind of took the next step and just kind of kept grinding, and thankfully it's starting to pay off.
So how does it feel going from kind of like a big fish in a little pond in Greenville to kind of starting all over again in Double-A?
Honestly, it's not too much different. I know it's pretty easy to be like, man, I'm in Double-A now. I'm with the guys. I'm up here facing some dudes. But I try to keep the same mindset of, what, my stuff plays well when I'm focused, same strike zone. Try to just ignore the hitters and go after them. That way I don't get caught up in kind of the trying to pitch around guys. I'm hoping to go out there tomorrow and kind of show myself and everybody that, hey, I'm here to play, and go from there.
Yeah, right now it's kind of exciting time to be on Portland because, man, you have all eyes on that team. On a hitting standpoint. Now adding you to the mix of the starting pitching and the pitchers, it's an all around team getting put together there. You got Marcelo Meyer, Rafaela, Nick Yorkie.
Mm-hmm.
They just brought you in off your previous 3 or 4 starts. You're on fire. So how does that sit there and play into your mindset of, a little bit more pressure because you guys, now I'm not saying that the Woo Sox and Salem and Greenville are lesser, but you guys have all the eyes, all the media reporters, all the attention on you guys now.
It's really cool. I mean, getting to share the dugout with guys like Marcelo, York, Rafaela, Van Bell. Honestly, our whole roster is just absolutely saturated with prospects. It's really cool to be in there, pick the guys' brains that have been there for a little while, see kind of how upper level baseball is played. And then on the mound, it's comforting. It's like I turn around and I see Cello, Chase Meadroth, York at second, Raphael in center, Sykes in right. It's just an endless list. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna throw it at these guys. I'm just gonna go right at them, and I dare them to try to get it past our guys because I'll take the roster we got right now over any other team in this league. Like probably eight times, 8 out of 7 times, I'm taking this group.
Is there anybody in the minor leagues that you played with that is kind of taking you under their wing, giving you any advice, more than anybody else?
Not really. I'd probably say Gambrell would be, like, on this team, would be the biggest one. Kind of circling back to the rehab question, I'd say the biggest guys I've learned from would be a Thad Ward and a Brian Mata, just because I spent every day for my first, honestly, 6 months as a pro with those guys. And so it's picking those guys' brain. It was probably one of the most beneficial things for me in my rehab time.
What is it like, growing up? If you're like in a slump, do you sit there and call home to dad and be like, hey, I know you're watching my games. Do you see something? Am I tipping pitches? How often do you do that? And what advice does your dad give you?
I definitely do. If I'm, maybe I'm losing my fastball command or curveball's not as sharp, I'll run by our pitching coaches and then I'll call my dad and be like, hey, what do you see? And normally it's a 30-second conversation. Hey, you're doing this. Make sure you think about this when you do it, and it fixes. He's been my pitching coach for, I'm 23, probably 18 years now. So it's pretty simple conversations at this point. But I would probably say one of my biggest resets is talking to him and my wife about non-baseball things.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's whenever I start struggling, I tend to kind of hyper focus on it, when all I need to do is probably go play a round of golf, or I need to get away for a minute and almost let my mentality reset. And that's something he taught me, was when things get hard, quit thinking about it, just do it. And that was always what he'd do growing up in tournaments. If I was pitching bad, he'd walk out there and ask me what I wanted for dinner that night on the mound in the middle of a game. And as soon as he walked back, for some reason, everything would just start clicking again.
Well, Hunter, let's sit there and leave baseball for a minute, since you kind of brought it up. What do you like to do in your free time? Like, what do you enjoy other than baseball?
I'm a big golfer. Got the handicap down to about a scratch. So we're spending, honestly, way too much time on the course. But outside of that, I love to fish, love to hunt, and just be outdoors, really. It's obviously baseball's an outdoor game, but anytime I can get away with my wife, my dog, or just get out in nature and quit thinking about everything, that's the best way to spend my free time.
Okay. Coming from, you were born and raised in what, Texas?
Yes.
So everybody knows football is huge in Texas. So what made you go to baseball for the career? Besides, like, was it just because your dad played, and or what was it? Just you played multiple sports, but baseball is what you excelled at.
I played multiple sports. I did the football, baseball, basketball growing up, golf. Had a couple offers in football out of high school. I was a quarterback, but ultimately it came down to I blew out my knee, tore my ACL my junior year of football, and realized if I wanted a long career in professional sports, it probably wasn't going to be football, since I already had a knee injury, which I also think kind of derailed the hitting career a little bit, because I was a catcher, third baseman. But so always been focused on baseball a little bit, just because my dad. And then once the offer from Texas Tech came in, play baseball. It was kind of a no-brainer. I would say probably the one thing the biggest decision was if I was going to be a pitcher or try to play third base. But I was positionally behind Josh Young. He's now the third baseman for the Rangers. And the coach at Tech kind of had a heart-to-heart with me. He's like, hey, probably not going to play a lot of third base. I was like, probably not. And so kind of focused on the mound, and I'd say it's worked out pretty well.
Do you kind of miss hitting?
Oh, yeah. I pick up a bat every chance I can get. That is one thing that, maybe if the pitching career doesn't work out, maybe I'll try to pick up the stick again and see what I can do.
Yeah, interviewing Maceo last week, and he was all about, he's like, I was always in the coaches and the managers' ears all the time, like, hey, can we get some batting practice for the pitchers? Come on, we just sit there and shut out all these past couple of games, reward us. He was all about batting practice, and I was like, man, I'm like, because chicks in the 90s, I'm a little bit older than all you guys. In the 90s, those commercials, chicks dig the long ball. But man, it's just so much. It's so much better. I always loved pitching. I was a catcher, so I always loved pitching aspect of just what's coming. It's one-on-one pretty much. As long as the umpires got a good eye for the strike zone.
Yeah.
And I'm throwing my best stuff, and if you're gonna hit it, you're gonna hit it. If not, I'm just gonna overpower you.
Yep. We actually, I think we had 3 shutouts in a week down there a couple of weeks ago, and we were all on the coaches like, hey, come on, let us hit. And then I actually had a bet with Kier Meredith over if I got 21 swings like they get in pregame BP, if I could hit 1 home run, we have these real nice BP tops that were left over from big league spring training, and I was going to get his off of him if I hit a home run. So I was dialed in. I was waiting for the chance to get out there and swing it.
And three shutouts, and you still didn't get no BP.
No, I think we were on a roll, and we were at the time kind of starting to hawk down the team in front of us, which was me, Winston-Salem, for the playoff spot. So I don't think the coaches were going to risk anything happening during that.
DC, you have anything?
Yeah, can you kind of go back a little bit? You walk us through the draft process for you. Were there any other teams looking at you? Can you just let us know kind of the process of how you got drafted and all that?
So it was kind of complicated because right before preseason meetings with all the teams started is actually when I blew out. So I'd heard from a few different teams, heard from a couple saying, second round, maybe a late first if I have a really good year. But honestly, it was hearing mostly like kind of 2 or 3 to 5 range. And we're ready to roll. Obviously blew out. So once the draft rolled around, I hadn't thrown a competitive pitch in a year and a half since pre-COVID.
Oh wow.
So 8th round came around. Red Sox called, said, "Hey, here you go. We're going to take you." I was like, "All right, let's do this thing." And I obviously said yes. Went rehabbed, and it was a pretty easy decision when the Red Sox called, just because the medical staff is arguably the best in baseball, and the strength staff had a super detailed path and plan of what I was going to do and what it was going to look like. So as soon as they called me, I was like, you know what, this is home. Let's go do it, and let's get to work.
You sit there and you've been working on your slider and your splitter more recently. Is there any other pitch that you would love to be able to throw that you don't see so often? I'm trying to think who it was. I think it was Maceo, the Vulcan changeup. I think he was working on.
Yep. And it is gross.
Yeah. So is there anything that you would love to work on that's you don't see too often in the majors or even in Double A, Triple A that you would love to just work on and develop?
No, I think the only thing that I would want to mix back in is I threw it in college was kind of a two seam, which is it's more of a sinker than anything. Because my fastball we call it it's a ride and cut.
Mm-hmm.
And so the sinker would basically just do the exact opposite of what my fastball does at the same velocity. So I think that would be the only thing I'd ever be interested in adding at this point. I just really want to kind of fine tune what I have, keep developing. Want to throw the slider a little harder, but hopefully the fastball velo keeps climbing like it has been, and that'll kind of take care of itself. But I think at this point, I'm just really looking forward to using the pitches I got to go out and compete and kind of settle in and hopefully kind of set myself up for a push to move to AAA and beyond.
Hey, I sit there and I know DC and I we can't wait till you get to move up to AAA because we live in Pennsylvania. So when you guys play the Rail Riders, we actually Joe Bradley was on and he sit there and helped us get some press passes. Love to sit there and see you throw live. Get to talk to you before the game and everything. That's something that we enjoy a lot. Getting to get relationships with the players, and as they grow, we bring you guys back on and talk to you and just follow the path to of making it to the majors.
I'm hoping it's sooner rather than later, but when the time comes, I'm looking forward to sitting down and talking with y'all again.
Yeah. So you throw a curveball, a slider, and like you said about your fastball. How great does it feel to know that you have a fastball there at will that has great velocity? You would clock that upwards of 97 at times.
Yeah, I touched 98 last outing.
Yeah.
But we kind of consistently sitting 95, 97 now.
Yeah. But then you paint the corners so elegantly, like kind of like a painter, if I must say, when you're throwing the curveball and the slider, to where you're painting the corners where the batters don't know what's coming, because they might be sitting on the fastball, but then you slide, your curveball right in there. How does it feel to be able to paint your Picasso at will at times?
It's honestly it's really nice. It's a confidence boost, and I'll accredit that back to my days where my fastball would top out 91, maybe 92 on a really good day, and so I had to paint. And so now that the fastball is more of a power fastball, being able to kind of revert back to the finesse ways and getting the curveballs on the corner of the slider there, even the splitter recently, it helps everything play. It makes that fastball that's already 97, 98 look like it's 100 because they have to look for that slider on the outside, or they got to watch the back door or front door curveball. It's whenever I feel that in the pregame bullpen, I normally can tell it's going to be a good day.
Catcher is usually key. A lot of in the majors, you get accustomed to certain teams like, hey, that's my personal catcher. You know what I mean? So catchers, you low A, high A, and now you're gonna be at Portland now. What catchers have you became and had a really great bond with so far?
When I was in Salem, Daniel McKelveny, he was, he was still a very new catcher, but first we just clicked immediately. I think that's because we had a great relationship off the field, and that was a guy that I'd never shook off. If he called a pitch, and even if I didn't think it was a great pitch in that situation, I was like, you know what, that guy saw something. Let's go with it. In Greenville, any of the three of Alex Arrow, Rosario, and Jonathan Diaz, all three were absolutely outstanding. I mean, I didn't care who was catching me when I showed up to the game. All of them called a great game and were amazing behind the dish. Up here, the only catcher up here that I've had experience with is Nathan Hickey, I guess, and Donlin from last year a little bit. Even though Hickey and I always make the joke, I always tell him that anytime I get promoted to the same team as him, he's gone in the next 2 weeks. I was like, he must just hate being on the same team as me. But, I mean, honestly, I think Marrero caught a bullpen for me the other day, and he's really easy to throw to, really comforting back there. So, I mean, that's one thing I'll say about the catchers in our system is they're all just absolutely amazing and work their tail off for you.
Yeah, and Hickey might get moved up again soon for a little bit, since they just called up Caleb Hamilton to the majors, so he might get called up to AAA. So the cycle might continue here soon.
That was actually the first thing I told him today. I was like, "Hey, Hickey, so when are you leaving?" He started laughing, and
I was just thinking about that.
I was like, "Yeah," I was sitting there. I was like, "Man," I was like, "You're as soon as you get to AAA, you're gonna be probably my biggest fan up there, telling them to send me up to AAA so you can go to the bigs."
So, DC, you have anything final? A final question or anything?
Should I steal your hot tub time machine one?
Hey, if you want to steal it, I will be more than glad to let you steal my thunder.
All right, yeah. So Hunter, he likes to do a hot tub time machine with everybody we have on. So if you could go back, past, present, what's one hitter you'd like to pitch against?
Oh, I'm gonna go present, and I hope this happens here relatively soon. But I have two. I want to pitch against Trout and Ohtani. Because now Ohtani is the man. He's pretty much the pinnacle of stats right now. But I mean, growing up, it was Trout everything. Trout was so good that it just became normal, which is absurd. But it's I'm hoping I get the opportunity to pitch against those guys, just because if I strike them out, if I get them out, I'll always be able to kind of, even when I'm old and not playing anymore, tell my grandkids, like, hey, those are two of the greatest to ever do it, and I got them out. That's on the bucket list, and hopefully that's in the playoffs at some point.
Hey,
yeah, man.
Quick question, since you brought both those players up. What were your thoughts at that last at bat in the World Baseball Classic? Ohtani, Mike Trout. What were your thoughts watching that whole matchup?
My first thought was we're watching history. Because these are two future Hall of Famers, and it was one of those moments you kind of stop and take it in. I feel like a lot of people nowadays, especially, kind of get caught up in the moment in the world and kind of forget about some of the stuff that happened. But that was kind of one of those in baseball where I stopped and I soaked it in and realized we're probably never going to see anything like that again. And it was just a really cool moment to see those two guys go at it.
Yeah, it was really special, and for it to end that way was really a great, all eyes, the cameras were all flashing. It's a great moment in sports overall.
Absolutely. That's that's got to go up there pretty high on the all-time sports moment list.
So, Hunter, we want to thank you for coming on. Right now, the floor will be yours. Where can everybody reach out to you, talk to you? And don't forget, I was looking on your Instagram. I'm pretty sure it was your Instagram. About your pitching lessons and everything.
Absolutely. I appreciate you bringing that up. That's one way that I try to make a little extra money throughout the years. I do remote lessons, kind of more video breakdown. I actually do like biomechanic breakdowns. I have a deal where I can, go pretty in depth, and just help anybody out that's wanting to do it. But I'd probably say, shoot me a message on Instagram, Twitter. Do not use Facebook. I'm never on there. I get yelled at by my wife and my mom all the time because I'm just never on there, and I miss a lot that I probably should see. But yeah, Twitter, Instagram is definitely the easiest way.
Well, you can always tell your wife, like, honey, but that's why I need your support to help me with the Facebook, because I got so much to do on Twitter and Instagram.
Absolutely. Honestly, if it wasn't for Facebook Marketplace, which I probably need to stay off of anyways, but I can't help myself, I probably shouldn't even have a Facebook. But that, I feel like being a golfer and having Facebook Marketplace go hand in hand, because where else would I spend all my money?
So, but Hunter, hey, it was a great pleasure. Good luck tomorrow on your first outing there. I'm probably going to sit there and check it out myself and watch it. And, just thanks for giving us, your time overall.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys having me on. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I just want to echo that. Thank you. Appreciate you giving us your time. Good luck tomorrow. Seemed like a real humble dude. It's really cool to see. So just excited to see where your path takes you, man.
I appreciate it. And I appreciate you reaching out to me and giving me the chance.
Absolutely.
So.
Y'all have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Thanks a lot, Hunter.
Good luck.
Thank you.